Today, I'm sharing a tutorial on how I achieved this everyday au naturale makeup application and just in time for summer. Stay with me. Welcome to Swank and Flow. I'm Danielle Anise. This channel is all about beauty, fashion, and lifestyle tips for women over 40. I've spent over 2 decades in both the beauty and fashion industries in Los Angeles, and I'm here to pass on some of the valuable knowledge I've gleaned along the way onto you. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Also, this video is not sponsored. My skin is freshly cleansed, toned, moisturized, and sunscreened. Remember to use a sunscreen on a daily basis. It's one of the most effective paths toward maintaining healthy, radiant skin and a very important step in your beauty routine. I purchased one called Goddess Garden from Amazon. It's around $17 per tube. It's a mineral sunscreen free of any chemicals, doesn't leave that white overcast. The tube looks like this, and I'll be sure to link it in the description box below, along with all of the products I'm using today. When it comes to makeup application, I'm not willing to spend more than 10 minutes in the mirror. Yet, I want to achieve a complete polished look. I'll show you how I go about this, starting with eyes first. I always start with the eyes in the event there's any flaking from shadows, or if I'm touching my face as I'm applying my shadow shades, I'm not risking disturbing anything that has already been placed on my face. I typically apply one shade all over the lid, and I prefer a cream shadow. They're super easy to work with. I can either blend out with a brush or using my fingertip if time is of the essence. I have quite a collection in my arsenal. Today I'm using a shade by NYX in the jumbo pencil called French Fries. It is a beautiful bronze shade, and the way I apply this is just starting at the outer part of the lid, taking the shadow inwards. I'm then going to take this number 3 hourglass brush and blend it out, starting again at the outer corner. I don't like to pull on the eye area. It's very delicate. So when I'm working around this area, I'm also very delicate. So I typically use a stipling motion to blend out. This shade is so pretty any time of the year, but I especially love it in the summertime when I have that sun glow look to my skin. My rule of thumb is to apply whatever I've applied on top underneath. This creates a seamless look on the eye area. So I'm just going to take a bit of this pencil under, again starting at the outer and working in. This is so creamy though, it doesn't pull at all at the eye area. Okay, now I'm just going to take this brush and blend over. And now for brows. I'm using the Hourglass Arch Brow Sculpting Pencil in Warm Brunette. Now, the way I apply brow pencil is first hold the pencil on the side of the nose, and where the pencil point stops or touches is where the brows should begin. So because my brows do not begin at this point, I'm going to take my pencil and extend them out to that point. So using the side of the pencil, I'm extending the line out and then just following through to the rest of the brow. Once I get to the arch, I'm going to take the pencil down like that. This pencil does your work for you. It's a blend of wax and powder in the form of a pencil. So now that I've drawn the line in at the base of the brow, I'm going to go back to the front of the brow and just feather upwards to fill in. And now my brows start where the pencil touched. And because I'm following the natural shape of the brow, it looks natural. I don't suggest creating something that isn't already there, but just embracing what you've already got. This pencil also has a spool on the side, which is very helpful in blending and grooming the brows. And now moving on to concealer. Currently, my favorite concealer is the Hourglass Vanish. It's super creamy, gives complete coverage, feels lightweight, and stays all day long. The first time I used this concealer, I was so excited to see that by the end of the night, my concealer looked as though I had just applied it. It's packaged in this very sleek and elegant tube with a applicator tip. I don't apply this directly to my eye area. I prefer to work off my hand because I don't want to contaminate my product with oils on my skin, creams. So for me, it's a hygiene thing. Once the product is contaminated, it breaks down and can go bad before it's time. So I'm going to take a pea-size amount on my hand right there on the side. And with the number 3 brush I used to apply my shadow, I'm now going to use for this concealer. I have 2 sets of brushes so that I'm not mixing product. And I'll just take a small amount on the tip of the brush and dab along the eye area. I'll do this eye first, the left side, so that you are able to see the difference. And I'm just stippling the concealer on. Avoid rubbing or pulling at your eye area or really any part of your skin, especially the delicate eye area. And I'm just going along the side of the nose, really targeting the inner corner. This is also a great way to clean up underneath the eye area with shadow or liner you've applied, as well as on the top. Sometimes as we're applying shadow, it goes a little bit farther down than we'd like. So this is a great way to just erase any mistakes like that. So, I mean, look at the difference already. And I haven't even blended it out. I'm using a color, a shade called Umber. Now, this is optional. However, this is a step I take because I really want to lift up the eye area. Whenever I purchase concealer, I always purchase a lighter shade so that I can take it on the outside. I'm just going to tissue off the brush I just used for this. On the occipital bone, Pardon me, I meant orbital bone. I don't think we'll be placing any makeup on the occipital, which is this bone that we typically apply our eye cream. Take a few dabs just like that. I'm going to take this Vanish brush and just go where I placed that lighter color and stipple. And now I'll go inside and blend. Now that I've placed my concealer, I'm going to take what's left over on the brush and go right underneath the eye area. This sculpts the brows. It helps to blend out the shadow a little bit, and it also pushes the shadow color forward so that I'm able to achieve a more dimensional look on the eye area. So now I'm going to set the Vanish concealer. And a side note on the concealer, I have found when I overuse the product, it creases. When I use less, I'm able to mitigate that. Because this concealer is so concentrated, less is definitely more. The powder I'm going to use is the Hourglass Veil in its loose form. I believe that's the only form it comes in, and I'm going to use this double-sided Hourglass brush to apply it. This powder is very silky, it's lightweight, it's truly translucent. So I'm just going to tap a bit onto the tapered side of this double-ended brush, the smaller side, and I'm going to go in to the inner corner and then tap it out. Because this brush is tapered, I'm able to get into that inner corner. And I find that when I press my product into the skin, it creates sort of an airbrushed look. My products seem to last longer just by taking this one simple step, and it just looks more seamless, more like it's actual skin. And now for mascara. I use the L'Oreal Voluminous in Carbon Black. I am no frills when it comes to mascara. I keep it pretty simple. I've used everything from Chanel to Christian Dior, NARS, even Hourglass, and they're all great mascaras. However, this suits me just fine. I also replace my mascaras fairly often, so I really don't want to spend $35, $40 on a mascara. I've already curled my lashes using the Shiseido lash curler. This is my favorite lash curler. It gives the perfect curl. One word of caution though, be sure not to apply too much pressure when you're curling your lashes. I have been victim to chopping off my own lashes, and I've heard many a story where others have done the same by applying too much pressure. So just a word of caution. So with the mascara, I always go underneath the lashes or on top, depending upon perspective. I go on this inner part and just take it back and forth, and then I go on the outside part and apply the product on that portion. I feel like this application really coats every single lash. To complete my mascara application, I'm just going to take what's left on the brush and take it on the side of the tube so that it goes back in when I push my brush back into the tube. So just a little dab, I'm barely touching. And also shadow and powder get on the lower lid as well, or the lower lashes. And this is a way of correcting that. If it bleeds down a little bit, just take the brush, the concealer brush, the number 3 in my case, and blend it out. Before I move on, just a friendly reminder, if you're getting value out of this video, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It's super supportive. Now it's time for primer if you wear foundation. Although I don't wear foundation, barring a special event or a night out, I do use concealer around my mouth area because I have hyperpigmentation, and this is where it has a tendency to really come through. This step simply tones it down. I have several primers I use. Today I'm using the Clarins Beauty Flash Balm. This is a holy grail primer for me. It really does an amazing job of filling in the pores, providing a smooth surface for your foundation, concealer to glide onto. And I find that it really helps in terms of the wear of your foundation or concealer. And back to my Hourglass Vanish Concealer. Take a bit of that on my hand in the umber. And the lighter shade I use, I don't think I mentioned it before, it's called Maple. So I'm going to take a touch of that as well. One is a red undertone, one is a yellow, because I have both on my skin. In the wintertime, the yellow undertones show up more. In the summertime, once sun hits my skin, the red undertones really do prevail. So, taking my concealer brush, just dab. Just arbitrarily mixing the two colors and going around the mouth. So I'm going to take my brush and in a circular motion, blend. I always go upwards when blending anything onto my face. Upward, always. That's my mantra for life. Go up in every area. And now I'm going to go over my skin to set everything I applied with the Hourglass Ambient Powder in Radiant. This is hands down my favorite powder. If you're one of those women who resists powder because you think it's going to settle into the skin and exasperate whatever concerns you have, this is the powder for you. The ambient powders at the Hourglass brand are meant to impart a beautiful glow that mimics different lighting conditions like incandescent light, candlelight, sunset, dim light, and they come in a variety of different tones. They also come in a palette with 3 of the most popular shades. One moment, I'm going to step away and grab that. I really want you to see it. They're often sold out of this palette. Here's the palette I was talking about. This is what it looks like. I love the packaging of Hourglass. It's so elegant, and Hourglass is a clean line, gluten-free, cruelty-free, luxury. I implore you to look into it. It's definitely my favorite brand when it comes to makeup products. So this one contains the Radiant incandescent and dim. These shades can be used together all over the face, depending upon your skin tone. The Radiant, which is this top shade, which I don't know if it even translates on camera, but the Radiant can be used as a bronzer. They can be used as highlighters. I love this palette. So now I'm going to go into my Radiant powder with my Hourglass powder brush. Around the mouth area where I just applied the concealer. And I'm also going to go back in with this double-ended brush and go around the eye area. And if you noticed, I didn't apply any product on my forehead and everything still blends nicely. That's the idea. Now it's time for blush. In my case, I'm going to use bronzer in lieu of blush. I got some sun on my skin a few days ago, and I think it'll enhance that sun-kissed glow I'm starting to feel and complement my skin a little bit more. I have a palette full of different shades I've gotten from various different brands. The bronzer I'm using, I believe, is La Prairie. Guerlain, or is it Guerlain, makes a great one. Hourglass makes a very pretty bronzer as well. It isn't quite deep enough for my skin tone, so I'm going to go with this one today. And just going around the face where the sun would naturally hit my skin to create some dimension. It's all about dimension. So really the perimeter of the face is where bronzer should typically be applied, meaning like the cheek area, the temples, the chin area. This bronzer is giving me subtle color. I know I said I wasn't going to apply blush, but I changed my mind. I'm going to apply this cream blush. I like to choose colors that naturally occur in my skin. That keeps things very natural and clean for me. I haven't heard of this brand, Hank and Henry. A makeup artist friend of mine gifted me with a set of these cream blushes. I'm just going to take a dot on the apples of the cheek, and I'm going to use a flat brush to blend this out. It's somewhat dense, and I think it'll do a great job of blending out this cream blush. So let's see if I'm correct. Starting with a smile, I'm taking the brush over it in a circular motion, and of course upwards. And that's pretty. Just the way I like it. Just very subtle, clean, looks like it's emanating from underneath the skin. The thing about blush is you do want it to be natural. The last thing you want is for someone to walk up to you and say, I love the blush you're wearing. What is that? That is a warning flag and probably an indicator that you might want to rethink that blush shade. It should really look as if it is your own skin. So it'd be preferable to hear something more along the lines of, you look so refreshed. What are you doing to your face? Well, I like that. It looks like flushed skin. So now my products have had ample time to mix with the warmth in my skin. So I'll go over with this blending brush. This is an Eve Lom blending brush. I don't know that it's still being made, but the reason I like a brush like this for blending, if not this one, there are many others on the market, is because it's very dense, it's flat, and it makes blending a cinch. It does all of your work for you. So I'll just take it and go around the perimeter of my face. I'm a stickler when it comes to applying product, and I'm a stickler with sunscreen. Like when I see people go down on their face to apply anything, I just want to grab their wrist and force it in the opposite direction. We're at the home stretch. It's time for lips, and I'm using one of my favorite brands, Palladio, in a shade called Real Cafe. It is a signature tone for me. I wear it every single day. The reason I love this brand so much, it's super clean, no chemicals, it goes on creamy smooth, it becomes one with the lips, wears like a matte, completely lightweight. What more could one ask for in a lip color? Fun fact, I hung out with this girl back in the day. We called her Sam, and I would watch her as she applied her lipstick. I thought her technique was just so sophisticated and feminine and elegant. Isn't that sophisticated? Now for the finishing touch, lip liner. When I line my lips, I do so in quadrants, starting at the lower left and then the right, top left and then the right. I use the MAC Chestnut pencil for this, and I always line my lips after applying the lip color. While I want definition and volume, I don't want it to look as if I have achieved this through lip liner. I want it to look as natural as possible, and this I have found is one of the best ways to achieve this. So I'll take my lip liner, starting at the outer corner. And the reason I line in quadrants is because our lips naturally taper in at the corners. Because of this, when we start at the outer corners on both the top and bottom, it forces us to plump up the lips naturally rather than to draw a lip line like way up here, which is just not a good look. Simply follow the natural lip line. So, starting at the outer corner, I'm just going in, and then on this side, and the top. You'll really notice the difference most significantly on the top, because that's where that tapering in happens a little bit more significantly. And you'll see it naturally take place right before your very eyes. I already see a difference. I'm going to go over again with my Palladio. This lipstick is about $7 or $8 per tube, which I think is a great value. However, I'm not even so sure it is a great value, because after 3 weeks, this is brand new, I just opened this, it's down to a nub. So that $35, $40 lipstick you're wearing, you'll go through 1 tube, while I have already gone through 5 of these. But because of the texture, because of the feel, I'm committed. I'm a loyalist. What can I? And this is my Au Naturale everyday look. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my video on how I transform this everyday au naturale makeup application to evening in minutes. And then there's the one on maintaining and caring for your brushes so they last a lifetime. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to get that 3, 2, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. See you on the next one.